sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap, all in one, all for you. Tap in, zap in.
It's Tuesday, the 20th day of January 2026. You're with Coffee Time with Peter Gomez, live on FM 92.1 and online at www.wcr.gm. Thanks for joining us. It's 12 minutes past 9 o'clock in the morning here in the Gambia, and joining us now is a man who wears many hats: a scholar, a strategist, and now steward of the nation's information flow. Dr. Ceesay, our minister responsible for information, media, and broadcasting services, steps into Coffee Time now, as he does every Tuesday morning, as one of the most engaging public officials in this country. Doc, good to have you back.
Good morning, Peter.
You know where I always start? Your cupboard.
You like to
your wardrobe,
me, huh? You like to tease me.
No, not at all. That's the absolute truth. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
In your usual slot.
Yes.
9 o'clock.
Yes.
And when I said to you, you're coming back to 9 o'clock because we couldn't monetize your slot this time, you said to me, very good. That's not good.
Why not?
I need to make money.
You've made enough, Peter. Say you want to make more money.
Says who?
I know.
I haven't made enough.
Oh, Peter. We know.
Doc.
We know.
How much? Welcome back.
Thank you.
Did you come through Dubai as you made your way to the studio?
No, I came through Singapore.
Oh, so we have Dubai, we have Singapore.
Sukuta is Singapore.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Sukuta, your Singapore, says Dr. Ceesay.
Sukuta is Singapore.
For those of you who don't know the joke, Brufut is like Dubai.
Brufut is more than Dubai.
Oh, is it?
Of course.
Fantastic. Let's start with the updates.
Well, good morning. The first update is from the Office of the President. President Barrow hails Guinea's democratic milestone as a shared African achievement. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, was in Guinea-Conakry to participate in the inauguration of the President-elect, now President, of course. He's already been sworn in, of President
He was a military man before.
Yes.
And we hear all sorts of accusations against him going into this election.
Yes, I mean, in political science, they're called military turned civilian. We've seen quite a few in the continent. Home front, Yahya Jammeh was a military man. Then he laid off the uniform and contested the elections in 1996. Rawlings was a military man in Ghana, also did the same thing. Samuel Doe, Master Sergeant Samuel Doe of Liberia, also came in as Master Sergeant Doe in a coup in 1980, I think, if I get it right. Later also turned to a civilian and contested. We've seen quite a few in the African continent where initially they used power coming as military officers.
One who was never given the chance to transform into, a civilian was Thomas Sankara.
Yes, Thomas Sankara also. So we've seen that in the continent. So it's not the first it's happening. President Doumbouya also came in through a military coup, turned into a civilian, contested elections, won, and was sworn in. And His Excellency the President was in Guinea-Conakry to witness or to attend the inauguration of President-elect General Mamadi Doumbouya. The President's participation reflects the Gambia's commitment to regional cooperation, peace, and democratic governance. President Barrow described Guinea's transition as a victory for the Guinean people and a shared African democratic achievement. Now, there was a period in the 90s, it was called the third wave democratization in Africa.
Third wave?
Yes, third wave.
Okay, third wave,
just after the end of the Cold War, 89-91. So if you look at the trajectory after independence, mostly in the 60s, most countries reverted to military rule in the continent. Only 3 countries were on the path towards multi-party democracy for an extended period in the continent, and these were Mauritius, Botswana, and the Gambia.
What about Senegal?
Yes, Senegal, but there was a period when Senegal was in multi-party during the heydays with, what's his name again?
Leopold Sedar Senghor?
Leopold Sedar Senghor.
Oh.
Yes.
There was only his Parti Socialist?
Yes, at that time.
Ah.
If someone can correct me. As far as I can remember...
When it comes to democracy, Senegal stands tall on the African continent.
Yes, but countries that are vibrant multi-party. I think Senegal was not part of those countries that had a multi-party democracy. It wasn't, because what happened was that at that time we had either military rule or one-party rule. For example, Tanzania had one-party rule, Zambia had one-party rule, Kenya had one-party rule. Yes. So I think Senegal was part of those. I'm not sure. Someone can correct me. For Senegal, it's a unique situation.
Yeah. If you need correcting.
But I know that in the continent, for most part, 3 countries were had long.
And what are those countries again, apart from the
Mauritius, Botswana, and the Gambia. Unfortunately, in 1994, we took a U-turn and went towards when other countries were now embracing multi-party democracy after the end of the Cold War in the early 90s. We took a U-turn and went for military rule. So obviously, now that this is happening in the continent, even though...
Nobody goes for military rule is always imposed. I mean, nobody says, well, we want the army come and take over.
No, what I'm saying is that our governance system, we deviated away from multi-party democracy, and then we went for military rule. That is, the military took over, and there was no more multi-party democracy. Now, so this is a win for Africa's democracy, what happened in Guinea, after we've seen some backsliding recently in the continent, where the countries that had gained...
A lot of people would say Guinea contributed to that.
Well, if they contributed, no, they were not, but they also backslided. But also remember, it's a different, the circumstances were different. Nonetheless, what is important is that now they've embraced multi-party democracy, they went for elections, the President Doumbouya won, and the President, His Excellency, hailed this achievement and reaffirmed the importance of collective leadership for stability and prosperity across Africa. And I also want to emphasize that the President gave a very important speech, reaffirming his commitment to multi-party democracy. And
where did he give his speech?
For the rule of law. In Guinea, yes.
He gave the speech in Guinea?
He gave a speech in Guinea. The video went viral, where he reaffirmed his commitment to promoting democracy and the rule of law.
What was the event? I mean, why would he give... I mean, he wouldn't have given the speech at the swearing-in ceremony.
I don't know the context. I just saw a video, because I wasn't in Guinea myself. I saw a video where he was giving a speech, and this video went viral, reaffirming his commitment to the promotion of multi-party democracy, but also the rule of law. So I'm not sure about the context, whether it was a press conference. I'm not sure, but there's a video which went viral where the President was seen speaking.
It's interesting you say you were not with him. I mean, in other countries, the President always travels either with the government spokesman or the Minister of Information, depending on, who speaks for for the government. Why don't you always travel with the minister?
Well, the office of the president determines the president's delegation, so that question should be
Yeah, but here you are now trying to tell us, trying to sell his speech to us.
Yes,
When you
that's
were
what
not
I'm
there.
saying.
Ideally, it would have been nice. I mean, you've seen a video
Mm-hmm.
of him giving, according to you, a good speech, a powerful speech, but then you don't know the context.
The context, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, that
because
is.
you were not there with him. So if you were,
I would
you
understand the context,
yeah.
but in this situation, I
not
wasn't
that
there.
I'm pitching for you
No,
to be
I
traveling with the
understand.
president.
No, I understand
but
your
it just
point.
makes sense that when you come here, you are able to authoritatively speak about anything he might have said anyway.
And I will validate what you said. It makes sense that the Minister of Information or the spokesperson travels with the president, but in this case, that did not happen.
Okay.
And I don't know why
There's still room to rectify that. Yeah.
I don't know why that didn't happen. Now, the other update also, President Barrow meets education board leaders. The president, one of his key priorities is to transform the education sector in this country. Therefore, we've been doing a lot of reforms, both in the basic education sector, but also in the higher education sector.
Which has one of the, if not the biggest budget.
Yes, exactly. Over $5 billion. $5 billion. And a lot of investments has been done. The president, since he came to power, has built over 6,000 classrooms, averaging 10 classrooms a week, but also over 424 schools with other infrastructure. We've also expanded higher education. We've built USET, established a new university called USET, University of Science and Engineering and Technology. We've also transformed Gambia College into University of Education, but also the MDI into University for Civil Service University. This is part of the broader reforms of the higher education sector. So the president met leaders of key education boards. The student revolving loan scheme, obviously this was passed in parliament, where now university students can benefit from a revolving loan like other countries do, particularly those students who are struggling.
How significant is that?
It's very important because currently what's happening is that out of almost, what I can tell, out of 6,000 to 7,000 students, almost 40% are on government scholarship. And government scholarship means it's free. But now with this new reform, with the revolving loan, it means that when you benefit from the loan, you pay back, so that others can also benefit from it. Other countries do it. Yeah. In Sweden, it's called CSN, whereby you go to the education sector, the government gives you loan to support you to the education sector for your feeding, your accommodation, but also your fees. When you finish, start work, you start paying towards the loan, others can also benefit. That is much more efficient than having the scholarship is good
and more sustainable even.
And more sustainable, because yes.
We depend on handouts as a nation ourselves.
Of course.
So if the inflow stops,
yeah, that's exactly.
The scholarship cannot.
So the Tertiary and Higher Education Trust Fund as well. He met the board for that particular institution, but also the National Research and Innovation Fund. No country now develops without having focus and investing in research. They call it R&D, research and development. It's very particular and innovation. There are tools now that is tech, that is new knowledge. We need to make use of these tools and this knowledge, and the only way we can do is to research and innovation that can help us now invent new ideas, invent new products, develop our sectors. That is why these institutions are. And the president was briefed on progress towards the Gambia Education Development and Transformation Agenda, the new agenda for transforming the higher education sector. The government affirmed its commitment to quality education as a driver of national development. Now, also, there was a high-level activity during the weekend organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's called the first ever stakeholders diplomatic event. It took place at the Cocoa Ocean. The event's purpose was to strengthen collaboration, dialogue, and partnership. It was organized by the ministry. The minister himself was there. Other ministers were there. Members of the diplomatic corps and other senior government officials were also there, just to bring stakeholders of the diplomatic sector together to hang out, informally get together, and also path the future for Gambia's diplomacy.
So you were there.
Yes.
Who were there among prominent diplomats and members of the diplomatic and consular corps in the country?
The dean of the diplomatic and consular corps was there, and he gave a speech. That is my brother himself, who is the ambassador of Guinea-Bissau to the Gambia. He was there. He's the dean of the diplomatic corps. And then we have the UK High Commissioner was there. I think I also saw members of the heads of the UN agencies, the UNDP, UNFPA, and then other embassies as well. So it was a very good event. The short video documentary was played showing Gambia's evolution of Gambia's diplomacy in the past years as well. So Gambia is really doing well in the diplomatic front, and recently you saw in the International Court of Justice, Gambia had led a high-level legal delegation to defend the Rohingya people.
Yeah, it's our case.
It's our case. Exactly.
I mean, nobody will defend it for us.
Exactly. So it's our case, and I think a small country like the Gambia making such a bold move, taking Myanmar to court for the way they are treating the Rohingya people, I think this is something that has put Gambia on the map. And the diplomatic map. Yeah, of course.
I mean, does anybody talk about us, in terms of, our stance on Myanmar, apart from maybe when we talk about it ourselves?
Yeah, but Gambia is known as the home of human rights in the continent. That is why, during the
but we're talking about
that's what it's about human rights. I mean, Gambia believes that the manner in which the Rohingya are treated is violating their basic human rights. It's tantamount to genocide.
And I'm saying, if you found yourself in the US, if you found yourself in the UK, or even Dubai, why not? I mean, have you heard people talk about the Gambia in the context of the Myanmar case?
Of course. I mean, I was proud last week. I was reading The Economist. The Economist is one of the leading global newspapers. And when they mentioned the Myanmar case being heard in the ICJ, they said the Gambia, and I was happy.
It's our case. We took it there.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously, that link will always be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think in diplomatic circles across the world, people who talk about this case always credit Gambia for taking that bold move. Many people see Gambia as a small country, but
isn't it a small country?
It depends on what you mean by small. Small is relative. Size is relative.
We're talking about size.
Geographically, perhaps you could say geographically compared to other countries in the continent, yes, size-wise, but in terms of our hearts, in terms of our desire, in terms of what we can do, I don't think we're a small country. We're very thriving. Currently, we're one of the most thriving, most secure nations. The President, His Excellency, has put in place policies and interventions that has put Gambia on the path toward democratic consolidation, but also making it a stable, secure, vibrant democracy that many countries now in Africa see us as an example because of the reforms we've done, compared to what was happening 10 years ago. If you come to the Gambia today, Gambians are better off today than they were 10 years ago, and Gambia is better off today. Gambia has developed, and there is more confidence in the Gambia today than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, donors were not looking at Gambia. Everybody deserted Gambia, but now there is so much donor confidence in our economy, in the manner in which we are doing our reforms. There's so much support for the Gambia that today most of these investments that we are doing in education, in healthcare, in infrastructure, in women empowerment, youth empowerment, really are unprecedented.
Somebody once suggested that if you have nothing else to compare the current government, your government, with, other than Yahya Jammeh in the past, then it's proof that you are not doing much. Because we all know, of course, during the Yahya Jammeh era, all the donors held back because human rights were being violated left, right, and center. You don't want to be comparing.
No, we are not only comparing. We're also looking at countries that found themselves in a similar situation.
How about comparing
like
your human rights with, say, Sadauda Kairaba Jawara, who was a towering human rights, advocate?
Yeah, but I think yes, but I think today also nobody can question this government's commitment to promoting human rights and the rule of law. Hardly you hear about human rights violations meted out to citizens against citizens by the state today in present day Gambia.
True.
But what is important also is look at it from a wider context, in the sense that countries that has undergone similar transitions like us, either transitioning from war or from autocracy, and what they achieved in the post period after those events, Gambia has now been seen as one of the most successful countries that has really undergone a very successful transition, surpassing what others have done. What we were able to do in just 8 years, despite the challenges of COVID-19 when the world shut down, despite the wars that are happening in the different parts of the world, despite a very difficult transition, and all the difficulties and challenges we inherited as a government, yet we were able to turn things around. And today, we are really doing what we call explosive development. That is across every sector. There is no sector that is not moving, that there are no investments today in the Gambia. You cannot tell me if you see water, in massive investments in the water, in basic water infrastructure, to the extent that today, very soon, the WASIP project will give over 1 million Gambians living in urban Gambia with clean drinking water. But also all the investments we have done up country in terms of water provision is unmatched. You come to road construction. Apart from the 1,200 kilometers of roads, we've already built both primary and secondary roads. We are now commissioning extra 900 kilometers of roads. And you've seen Ibrahim Asila, the minister, going around these days, trying to do a study of these roads in West Coast region. In addition, we're also building 274 kilometers of roads, agricultural roads. This is only for the agricultural sector, connecting main roads to farmlands, connecting farmers to markets. These are specialized. These are different roads that we are building. You come to education, you come to healthcare. The investment is done in healthcare is unmatched also, both at the AFSTH, at the main hospital, but also primary healthcare provision as well. The health centers we've built, we've renovated across the country, also unmatched. These things happening. Our economy is growing to 5.9% by the end of this year. Electricity provision, we've achieved almost 90% access, and we're heading towards universal access.
You were supposed to have achieved 90% in 2025.
Yeah, I think we have, in terms of what is just remaining. Very soon, the president will come out early February to inaugurate most of these electricity projects.
So you didn't hit 90% in 2025.
I think I need to get the latest data. I think we've hit the 90% target, and we should be reaching universal access. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we're going to be the first country in the continent that will, in West Africa, maybe perhaps also in sub-Saharan Africa, to reach 100% universal access to electricity. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but for West Africa, that one I'm sure we're going to be the first country to do that. When it comes to the promotion of democracy, the promotion of stability and security, now recently we've been awarded the 4th safest country in Africa to travel to, and the safest country in West Africa to travel to. So we're able to do all these things in tandem, promoting democracy, providing stability, providing security, interventions for women development, youth development, education, healthcare, infrastructure, energy, water. This is explosive. No country does this in a post-transition period.
You love that word. On Tuesday, the 20th of January 2026, we're with Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, Minister responsible for information, media, and broadcasting services. So you list, your human rights achievements and all of that, yet the media is still crying about draconian laws in the Constitution. At the last dinner, the President promised that these would be removed. But that was not the first time he was promising that they would be removed. At every opportunity he has with the media, he promises that.
What are those draconian laws? I'm not sure there are any draconian laws in the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. We have progressive laws today in the Gambia. Yes, there are a few laws that can be seen as not media friendly, but again, these laws, you don't just remove them, you reform them.
Why should you not just remove them?
No, but you reform them. You put safeguards in place. These laws are there for a reason. Also, the media has to be held accountable for their actions while doing their job. Who hold the media accountable?
You think we can be irresponsible?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that there is no country that allows a media sector where there are no safeguards, where media can't be held accountable to the people.
That's why you have the Media Council.
Yeah, but the Media Council here is not legislated. It doesn't have those powers.
It does not?
It's not. The Media Council here is a voluntary organization that doesn't have those powers to police the
It's
media.
a voluntary organization.
It is.
I
It
mean,
is. It is not.
It's a government creation, isn't
No,
it?
no, it's not. It's not. It's not established by an act of parliament. It doesn't have the legal powers to police and hold the media accountable. It doesn't have those powers. We need to go and now legislate that and make sure we now transform the Media Council and have it established on act of parliament and give it certain regulatory powers. Right? It doesn't have that. So if it doesn't have it now, how do we hold the media accountable, particularly in light of new developments in the sector, where now before, when you were a journalist 20 years ago, the only medium existing at that time was TV and radio, and they were licensed, and they had the obligation to operate within the framework of those licenses. But now we have media exploding everywhere where they are not licensed, the online media. How do you regulate the online media to protect citizens like me and you from being abused by the online media, who holds them accountable for their actions that are outside the framework of the law, for example, and they're operating here? How do you regulate a media house that is based in Japan, but yet targets citizens in the Gambia and feeds them with news? How do you regulate such a media where they do things that are outside the framework of the law? We are thinking of these reforms at the ministry's level, and very soon we are going to do some of these reforms. We call them the new media reforms, where now we'll have to now adapt the way the media works to new realities.
Do you think the Gambia is capable of doing that? I mean, big countries are dealing with these online, even these huge, platforms, if that's what they are called, or social media giants like X and whatever. You hear, litigation against them, and them backing down. Is the government of the Gambia able to do a similar thing?
Well, it will be difficult to do it as a government alone. That is why at the continental level, we have to get a continental response to these things, dealing with big techs. Gambia as a country alone will have very little influence on Facebook, X, or things like that. But as a continent, we are speaking at the continental level now to do it at that level. But as a country, we have a responsibility as a government to protect citizens so that their rights are not infringed by the media, and therefore we need to come up with some regulation and make sure with some guidelines as well, and also the media operates within the framework of the law and they respect citizens' rights, but also they preserve peace and stability in this
country. Let's say Gomez Online started here, and then you brought this new legislation to bear, and he decides, well, listen, I just need to move out of country and relocate to Guinea-Bissau and do my thing from there. How do you...
It's a challenge that all governments face, that challenge. How do you now regulate media houses that are outside? Because people go to the internet and then access. And what you don't want is shut down certain sites because of... And that is now where, as long as they operate and as long as they don't do you
have the means?
We don't have the means, and I think most governments don't also have the means to police and stop and regulate online media. But we hope and we want to work with the media to make sure that they operate responsibly, but also they don't do anything that will undermine the peace and stability of this country. That we don't have to joke with. It takes it to a different level. Once the red line is not crossed, you can feed news, you can talk about issues, but once the red line is not crossed, where now you feed...
What would be a red line, for instance?
For example, hate speech that can undermine...
What hate speech?
I mean, it goes from a spectrum. For example, going after a particular... making statements against a particular tribe, against a particular religion that could really undermine peace and stability. Things like that. Hate speech, for example, is one. I mean... some kind of disinformation, even though misinformation is not regulated. But at the ministry's level, we're about to launch a new platform called the Misinformation and Disinformation Response Platform. This is AI powered. We believe that currently AI is being used to give traction to misinformation. We are also going to use AI now to fact check in real time.
Oh, wow.
Misinformation, disinformation is an ECOWAS funded project. We are building the platform right now at the ministry's level. It's going to be an exclusive platform where we'll work with civil society, media, fact checkers to make sure that in real time, because today the threat of AI and deep fakes is a big problem, whereby now, and it's getting better. You can see a video of Peter Gomez insulting a whole nation and you think it's true, and before you know,
Scary. Especially when they clone the voice.
exact, and before you know it's AI.
Yeah.
People have started killing each other because of the particular statement, and now there is no automated response that can tell people in real time that this is fake. We are building that now to make sure that we now, and I've seen some news at the background. It looks like it's QTV. I've seen it, and this news reader is saying that the Gambia government has banned the use of makeup in the Gambia. Anybody seen wearing makeup will be arrested. Now I understand it's AI. Yes, I understand it's AI, but there are people who wouldn't understand it's AI, and these are challenges that we are facing. And as a ministry, we are now also going to use AI to respond to these threats, but also to these deep fake threats as well, which can erode public trust in public information, but it can also undermine the integrity of our elections, but also the integrity of our institutions. So we are working hard. Very soon we'll launch the project.
You bring the issue of elections. Yeah, this is an election year for us.
Yes.
So
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances, not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.